My name is Joanne Massey. I'm the Director for the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance. I want to welcome you to the Small Business Stabilization Initiative Informational. Today we're going to tell you a little bit about the initiative. We're also going to walk through the criteria, application, and additional documentation that's required for successful submission. We're also going to tell you a little bit about why the mayor and city council chose to allocate this $5 million to businesses like yours. So again, thank you all for being here. Welcome. If you would, please make sure that you mute your phones. You can be on camera if you like. I'm sorry, mute your screens and or your phones if you're on the phone, but please make sure you stay muted. And if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask that question. We don't have an abundance of people here just yet, but I have with me on this webinar my colleagues, Mr. Taylor Tagg, who is the Senior Business Services Coordinator for our office, as well as Ms. Ashley Robinson, who is our Operations Manager. And I think that's the only team members I see right now. If there are others with us, they will assist, but Mr. Tagg will help us facilitate. All right, so with that, let's just jump right into it. So the Small Business Stabilization Initiative is meant to support, again, small businesses that are located within the City of Memphis limits like yours. This money that was allocated, the $5 million, is from the CARES Act Fund, which is a federal allocation that was given to communities to assist with economic recovery during the pandemic. So the City Council in late May allocated $5 million to be administered through the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance to support small minority and women businesses, particularly those businesses that have been impacted by COVID and those that are in the Memphis 3.0 area, which if you're not familiar with Memphis 3.0, we'll tell you a little bit about that shortly as well. So the requirements for the program are that, and we'll go here, the maximum that you can be allocated for this program or from this program is $25,000. And there will be reporting that will be required on January the 5th of 2021 for all businesses that are successfully awarded a grant. So eligibility. The first criteria that we have for this allocation is, as I mentioned, your business must be located within the City of Memphis limits. However, your primary residence must also be in the City of Memphis limits. You may be aware that Shelby County has several grants that they have created, and that's Shelby County government has created several grants for businesses within Shelby County. Of course, the City of Memphis is one of the 7 municipalities within Shelby County, but we are a municipality where these funds that were allocated are meant to be used for the residents of the City of Memphis. If you are not a resident of the City of Memphis, even though you may be a business owner, at this time, this grant fund is not for you at this time. You must provide proof of your residence and you must provide proof of your business location. Unincorporated Shelby County or Cordova is not considered to be in the Memphis jurisdiction. So you must be paying Memphis city taxes if you are a homeowner, and or, as I said, your primary residence must be within the City of Memphis. All right. The minimum revenue for this grant is $30,000. So that means that your gross receipts, and that's gross, that's not net. So your gross receipts must show on your tax forms and any other proof or documentation that we may request in order to verify your minimum annual gross receipts. We will ask for that, but it is a minimum of $30,000. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you are $28,999, we can't approve you. This is the minimum, and we are strictly holding to that. The maximum is $3 million. So again, if you submit your tax returns and you're making more than $3 million, then you won't be eligible. You must have been in business for at least 6 months prior to March 1st of 2020. So as we all know, the pandemic hit the US and there's estimated time around February or so. But here with the City of Memphis, we recognize the impact, and there started to be changes in how our businesses could operate around March 1st. So you must have been in business for at least 6 months prior to March 1st in order to be considered eligible. If you started a business since the pandemic, there are some other resources that are available through our office, some loan funds and others that might be of assistance to you. However, if you haven't been in business for at least 6 months, you won't be eligible. Your application will be rejected. We do need for you to put the date that you started. But again, we will verify every part of information on the application that you give us. There are 3 technical assistance videos that are included on this website, and I'm going to scroll down to those in just a moment. But you must watch these videos. They're all less than, I would say, 6 or 7 minutes, and some of them are 2 or 3 minutes. But we need you to watch these videos because it's providing really important information to you as a business owner, not only about this grant, but about the federal requirements for this grant. For example, this grant is taxable. So if you're successfully awarded this grant, you'll have to provide us with an invoice, and that income, as it is considered by the federal government, will be included and will be taxable based on your tax return. And so of course you can have your tax return completed and write off things, but it is considered taxable income by the federal government, which is why we have to have an invoice. You will sign the affidavit, and we're going to go through the application, but you'll sign an affidavit saying which day you watch the video. And again, as you all know with technology, we're able to verify information. The NACES code. The NACES code is an identification of your business activity or the type of business that you have. So I'm going to go ahead, just because some people may have never seen this before, I'm going to go ahead and try to open the NACES code site up. So let's see here. All right. Now, it's okay if you can't find your NACES code, but if you can't find your NACES code, then that means that we may have a problem with the type of business that you have. So for example, let's see, all you have to do is just search. So keyword right here, and this is for 2017. So I'm just going to type in restaurant. Okay, so everybody can see that the different types of restaurants, carry out, and so forth. So you just need to select the NACES code. It does not have to be all encompassing, but that just gives us an idea of what type of business you have. Now, there's other NACES codes here. Okay, plumbers. So all you have to do is type in the keyword and it should come up. Now, A type of business that is not eligible for this grant is a nightclub. Okay, so as you can see here, I type in nightclub, and I don't know, maybe I should just type in club. Yeah, so there are different types of clubs here, but nevertheless, nightclubs, social clubs, nonprofits are not eligible. Okay. All right, so hopefully you found that helpful. Let's go back. And again, if you have any questions, you know, just jump right in there. I can't see you because I'm looking at this screen, but you can just jump right in if you have a question. All right, so that's the criteria that we review for this grant, meaning that if you don't meet this minimum criteria, these selections here, then this grant will not be for you. However, as I said, there are other resources. So we do require an application, and there are documents that must be presented with that application. I'm going to pull that application up in a minute, but just for evaluation purposes, when you look at this application, you'll see that we do have what I consider to be really clear instructions on what we're asking for and what you need to complete. The application can only be sent to us via email. And I want you to understand that the reason why we ask that is for two reasons. One, again, as I mentioned a couple times, these are federal funds. So we have to do our due diligence with tracking how we are distributing these funds and how we're selecting applicants. So there is no corners to be cut. There's no phone calls to be made. You know, there's nothing, everything is transparent in this process. And so that one email is the only way that you can submit your application. It must be submitted in a PDF. We cannot take pictures, and I know that that's easy to do. I've done it myself and emailed the picture from my phone, but we can't take those pictures, guys, because we can't print that out. How that picture looks when it prints out and goes into your file is not how it looks on that screen or on that phone. So I hope you understand why it's important that we need for you to do it in a PDF that is clear and printable. You will also find that if you try to do that or try to copy your driver's license, that your face and your information will be blacked out. So you want to make sure that everything that you're submitting is clear and that it would look clear when it's printed. So let's look at the application real quick. So this is the application. It's really short for some of you who have seen it. And I won't go through these things right here. I'll come back to the things to consider before you apply. But as you can see here, the application is a PDF. And we made it a fillable form. So all you have to do is just type in here when you apply. All you have to do is just type it in, you know, online, and it'll print right out. Now, every section needs to be completed, okay? And it's really important that you do that, again, because incomplete applications, we actually have to reject them. And if you all can imagine the volume of applications that we receive, it's not actually easy to call folks and say, hey, you forgot to fill this in or that in. We don't really have the manpower to be able to really do that. So we want to help you. And the best way for us to be able to help you and to get this money in the hands of you all as business owners and help you sustain is for you to complete this application in full. All right. So we do ask for the full legal name of the person and so who's applying. And just to be clear, if you own a business and you are in a partnership, like you're in an LLC and you have multiple partners and things like that, we actually require all of the partners to live in Memphis as well. Because remember, I said these funds are meant to support Memphians and Memphis business owners. So, if you select, and we've seen this, you select a partner that lives in Memphis, but the other two partners live in Germantown and Collierville, that's not acceptable. Again, I mean, when you register your business, we know, we can find out. We need to know the legal name of the company. And then right here, I'm finding that a lot of people are missing this step, and that's the street address of the business. So you want to make sure that you complete the entire application. I think there was some adjustments we had to make on the form, that this field and this field was duplicating somehow or something, but I think we fixed that. If you have any problems, the easiest thing for you to do is print it out and you can write in, so it doesn't have to be typed. The public libraries are open. In case you guys didn't know that, the public libraries are open. And then I also always suggest FedEx, Kinko's, and Office, I guess it's Office Max or something like that. But we do need this information completed. Now, this question about, are you in a Memphis 3.0 anchored use area? Here's the Memphis 3.0 website. On that web page that I showed you right here, there's the website, okay? I already pulled it up for convenience so we wouldn't be slowed down, but you can click right here. You go to this Memphis 3.0 website. Now, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of easy, but that's because they gave me some training on it. So let me type in an address that I just know, and I'm gonna just type in City Hall, right? Okay, 125 North Main. So what they're telling me is that if it was a 3.0 area, it would be colored. It's not. It's not. Let's see, where's City Hall? Okay, we're right up in here somewhere. So it's not a 3.0 area. Let me see, an area that I know is, I think the Broad Avenue. Okay. Okay. So see right there, all up in here, Broad Avenue, all of this is supposed to be 3.0. Now, the easiest thing about this is if you put your, and this is for, and let me correct it, this is for your business address. So is your business address located in the 3.0 area? Not necessarily if you live in one. And so when you look there on that website and you're not sure, that's okay. Just mark you're not sure. We'll confirm it. If you think you are or whatever, just put not sure. Now, if you verified it, put yes. What'll happen is if you're not, we verify everyone that says yes or not sure. If you say no, then we're processing, we move forward. But if you say not sure or yes, then we'll verify for you. Like I said, you have to put in the date that your business was established. All right. So all you have to do is just type it in. Like I said, it's real easy here. So your business has to be established prior to 6 months prior to March 1st. So I'm just putting a date here just so y'all can see how it looks typed in. All right. Now, number of employees. We're finding that people they're putting the information here, but they're not giving us the list like we asked for. So sorry, this keeps scrolling down. Okay, so this does not include, this is employees that are on your payroll. What's really interesting is that sometimes I find that business owners will put like a 0 right here. Well, you're an employee of the company. Even though you own the company and you're an owner, you're still counted. So you should be counting yourself, okay? Now, like I said, these are employees that are on payroll. So it's not 1099 employees, contract employees. It's people that are part of your payroll. We do require the list of your employees, their job titles, and date of employment with your application. I mean, you should have that as an employer. You put your full-time employees here, put your part-time employees, if you have seasonal employees, and then you total that up. Now, let me show you why this is all important. Not only the numbers, but the list. Because when you go back to this criteria, you see the categories. If you have 1 to 10 employees, you can get up to $10,000. Okay. If you have 11 to 20, 15, and 25 plus is 20. This is what in processing we call your base amount. This is where we will start. So if you have at least 1 employee, which you're your 1, your base amount could be $10,000. Now, the only exception to that, to the negative where you might get less, is if your gross, your annual gross, is really less than 30, I'll say 35,000. Because what happens is we cannot give you, and this is a federal requirement, we can't give you more than 25% of your annual business revenue. We just can't. So if you made 30,000, the way that I remember the math, you might, and you had just 1 employee yourself, you would get $7,500. Okay, that's still a lot. You just wouldn't get this 10. But this is why in this application, we need to make sure that we have this information complete, accurate, and in detail, okay? All right, so we've had the question about the gross receipts, and some people hadn't completed their 2019 tax return. I'm gonna say, and just to be clear, we have tax experts. I did taxes myself for over 18 years. Very astute with tax returns and what they're supposed to look like. If you haven't filed your 2019 taxes by now, we need to know why. But there is some exceptions on a case-by-case basis, and it does depend on that why. A lot of times people are sending us tax returns that aren't signed. We need your tax return. We need what you submitted to the IRS. That's why that 4560, I think 4506 is important. But we will and can verify. So you need to make sure that the tax return that you're submitting is the same tax return that you submitted to the IRS. Other than your accountant maybe submitting online and providing you a copy, but even then your tax return needs to be signed. So I don't know what circumstances where your tax return wouldn't be signed, but it needs to be signed. The other important thing, and out of the hundreds of applications that we have already received and reviewed, we've only had 1 that was not current on their taxes. And we verify that too as well. So if you're not current on your city and county taxes, this is where you mark. Now, again, circumstances, if there's something we need to know, I work for the Shelby County Trustee's Office. for over 5 years. I was the legal supervisor there. I know that we have payment plans with the trustee's office. People have, appeals that are happening and things like that. That's okay. I just need to know, and we need for you to, just be upfront about it. And then, like I said, I showed you earlier the NACE's codes. So I want to stop right here because I can't see your faces. And I know I told you to jump in, and people may not be, because I would be jumping right in if it was me. I want to stop right here, just take a little breath, and ask, are there any questions right here?
Yeah, Joanne, I just joined. I've been struggling trying to get in here. I don't know if you've covered it, but I had a.
Hold on one. Taylor, can you, the person that's not talking, I see 4K Construction is talking to the other person, or is that the Twitch sign you, sir? It's hard to hear you when the person's talking.
Also looking at new onboarding design.
I apologize. I'm sharing an office here. So, but my question had to do with if you're. You hear me now, or am I still not able
No,
to?
sir, you're fine. I just didn't know where the other noise was coming from. Go ahead.
It was actually my background because we were sharing office. So, yeah. So, what my question had to do, and I don't know if you've covered it or not, but if you've received any funds, or if you're there's like Shelby County, and then there's the Epicenter, there's other kind of funds. Is there any stipulations that if you receive funds from those other organizations, you cannot apply for this?
So there is an application. We hadn't gotten to it yet, so I probably should have kept going, but I knew there was some questions. And Lillian, I see you, so I'm gonna call on you, and I'm gonna call on your question in just a moment, okay? So hold on, let me show you in the application. So yes, we do ask for that information, and it's where we ask for a duplication of benefits declaration. We only need for you to disclose, okay? Now, with that being said, what you want to ensure is that the impact that you're claiming is not duplicative, because we're still in a pandemic. We're still, businesses are still either shuttered. There's hindrances and challenges to doing business during this pandemic. So my viewpoint, and I am not the final authority on this, Grant. I just want to be clear. There's a committee and there's multiple approval levels, but it does start with our office. And my viewpoint is that even if you got money from Epicenter, Edge, the SBA or whomever last month, you're still you're still in a pandemic. And if you can provide that documentation or statement of your continued impact, you should be eligible. And that's what we're doing here. But it is up to you to disclose. We ask for who did you get money from and the amount. That's not to deny you these benefits. That's just a disclosure that's required. So does that answer your question? Okay. I don't know if okay, there you go. Go ahead. Does that answer your question?
I'm sorry, I'm struggling with my mute. Yeah, very, very good, very good. I appreciate it. It's very clear.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Lillian, you had a question about the NACE's code?
Yes, I do. I have a question about the NACE's code and also the 3.0 area. We will have anyone available with searching to make sure our business are located within the area, and also because we do different type of business, I'm not sure which of the NACES code apply to the business. I was able to find it, the NACES code, but I wasn't sure. So I just want to know if you will have someone available to help with those questions later on.
Yes, ma'am. So let me go back here real quick to the website. Again, the website, we were very careful and thoughtful about how we created the website because we knew that people would have questions and needed support. So here on the website, and it's right there, you can ask all your questions right here, okay? You can contact the 901-636-9300 number and ask for a business navigator. Those business navigators, you see that right there, those business navigators can help you identify those codes, answer those questions. And those business navigators include and are led by Mr. Tagg, as I mentioned earlier. He's our Senior Business Services Coordinator, along with his team, his colleagues, as well as our partners with the Tennessee Small Business Development Center that's led by Rory Thomas. You can also contact them, TSBDC, through Southwest. But to start, you can contact the 901-636-9300 number and ask for a business navigator. The person who answers the phone at the front desk is not going to be the one that's going to be able to answer your question, okay? But they can get you to someone who can answer your question. All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, let's go back to the application. And I'm glad you guys had questions because, like I said, we're here to help and we want to make sure that we get this money to you. So we stopped at the NACES code. So here on the second page of the application, we ask, are you a business that supports the chamber's anchor industries? So let me see if I can open this up real quick. It's real simple. All you have to do, and we tried to make this application and the website as simple as possible. So right here on the chamber's website, they give a list of those anchor industries: agribusiness and technology, corporate and professional services, food and beverage processing, medical device and innovation, transportation and logistics. Those are the categories right there. The link is on the website. If you are, yes. If you mark no, we're not going to check it. If you mark yes, we are going to verify it. And we ask you here to put which one of those industries you fall under. The other question is about certified disadvantaged minority or woman-owned business. If you're certified, you know it because you went through a process to get certification. Much like this application, you had to submit documentation and proof of your business ownership, your tax returns, and so forth. The one caveat to this is, even if you have certification with other agencies like the airport, Shelby County government, MMBC, WEBEC, or whomever, that WEBEC is a national organization, MMBC is a local organization, and then Shelby County government and airport. If you have certification through any of them, you still must have registered your certification with our office, with OBDC. That's when you mark yes here. If you haven't done that and you're not a part of our www.901.net business directory, then you won't qualify. We haven't seen a lot of those. Again, if you're certified, you know you're certified and you know the benefits of certification. And oh, by the way, our office does offer certification and it is free. There are many benefits besides just the additional funds in this grant to certification. We do ask that if you are certified, scan in your certificate. We're going to look it up anyway if you mark yes, but it just makes it a lot easier and makes the process flow quicker. So real quick, Go ahead.
I had a question about the certification. Are we speaking of the Nbe certification with the City of Memphis? I know you mentioned the 901. Listening, I don't know if that's a different terminology for the same thing.
Yes, sir, it is. It's the same thing. So
Thank you.
if you have MBE, WBE, which is Women Business Enterprise, MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, or SBE, Small Business Enterprise certification with the City of Memphis, you are a part of the www.901by901.net directory. You're already in there. It's just a blanket page for our certification list. Pretty easy to remember for most people, but it's a benefit to you. And if you're already a part of that list, you know that not only city government utilizes that list to look for small minority and women businesses to do business with, but the private sector does too, and other government agencies, quasi-governmental agencies like EDGE and so forth. So if you're a business owner, you want to be a part of that list. All right. Pam, you were asking about the web address. I'm going to ask if Mr. Tagg is still on the line to put the website for the grants in the chat, because I think that's what you're looking for, and you said you can't see my screen. So if you'll do that, Mr. Tagg, that would be great. All right. Okay, thank you.
I got it. He did. I got it.
Okay, excellent, wonderful. Okay, so moving right along, as I mentioned, just those criterias of if you're located in a 3.0 area, if you are one of the chamber's anchor industries that are identified by that website, or if you are certified and registered with the Office of Business Diversity and Compliance, you can receive an additional award of up to $5,000. All right. Now, I mentioned about the base award here for your number of employees. And then if you meet any of those criteria, you can get up to $5,000. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you the way that we calculate this additional award, because we have to be consistent and this is federal money. What we do is if you have more than 4 employees, you get this base award, right? And then if you meet this criteria, we'll give you that $25,000 just for meeting that criteria. All right. Then we'll give you an extra $1,000 up to $5,000 for every employee over that 4. Now, I'm telling you guys this, but please understand that's not a secret. That's just how we are calculating. But I don't know any other way to say it. This is federal money. You must be truthful when you're providing this information. We will verify it. And I keep saying that because I want you to understand that, that's my job. We have to verify this information. Go ahead.
As far as if you were looking to grow your business and you wanted to put some other people to work at this point here, this would be a good opportunity. I just wanted to make sure that you're not looking at your past. If I look at this and I say, well, I want to put some other people to work, I was planning on doing it anyway, and I want to link it with this grant. Is that possible?
No, it's not. So when we ask you for the list of employees with their job titles and date of employment, we're looking for that same criteria. Were they employed 6 months prior? Were they with you? Because this is an impact grant. I get what you're saying, and we actually have microloan programs and other programs that can support you in growing your business. But this is a grant meant to provide resources or provide remediation for the impact that you receive, not to grow your business forward.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So if you have contract employees, you are not allowed to have those listed in here as your employees. So that therefore you would only list yourself as the one employee for the business. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So if it's 1099, if you give them a 1099 or issue, 1099, or you pay them, you pay them with cash, they're just not part of your payroll where you can't prove it. Because this is the other thing, guys, and if you're a business owner, you already know this. You're subject to audit by the state, by the federal government, and obviously, by our office as well. That's why I'm saying just be upfront with everything that you put down, because you will have to either prove it now or you may have to prove it later. And we want this is a stabilization grant. We want all of our businesses to sustain and to be able to continue. So yes, ma'am, you need to make sure that if you are paying them as a contract, that you only put yourself down. And that's okay. Because remember, if you put yourself down, that 1 to 10, the base amount could be $10,000 if you meet all the other criteria.
Okay, and another question. When you talk about having the certification, can you speak to that, or is it necessary for us to call in and get that information? Because I, for one, am a female minority, and I'm not certified, so I need to find out how do I get that.
Yes, ma'am. I won't take this time to do that. I'm happy to talk to you more about certification. We also have some videos on our YouTube page that talks about certification, and Mr. Tag can share that with you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, fantastic. All right, moving along. So you've seen the criteria, you've seen the information that we asked for, and then the additional documentation or proof. Like I said, we need to see your tax return for 2019. I don't care if the tax return is 40 pages. We want the whole thing. We don't want segments of it. We don't want the page that just shows your gross receipts. We want the whole tax return. So you need to submit that along with your list of employees, if you're certified, your driver's license, proof of residency. And proof of residency is not necessarily a MLG and W bill. We need to see the lease documents. We need to see the mortgage papers. Those documents are required, okay? Now, after you submit all of those documents, you will know generally where you might fall with the grant and the criteria. If you don't want to do the math, that's okay. Some people leave this blank. Some people put the maximum. Some people are spot on, which I always, smile when they've done the calculation themselves. I'm like, yeah, that's what I came up with. So that's great. But either way, it doesn't matter. This isn't something we're holding you to. We had one person who asked for $5,000. Well, he qualified for, I think, 12,250. And we were questioning, well, he only asked for 5,000. Well, he qualified for more. So we're not going to shortchange you, but we're also not going to give you more than what you're qualified for. So real quick here, you fill out these disclosures. They are required to be filled out. You can read carefully here, and it's kind of everything that I've been saying to you all. As I mentioned, my work is in compliance, financial services, and, I've worked in legal and HR before. Just be truthful, just, whatever it is, but know and understand these are things that you're holding yourself in your business to. You must have been negatively impacted by COVID. I mean, we all kind of know if you've had a business and it was in 6 months prior to, you have been anyway. So that's a given. But you have to also disclose any funding that you received in response to COVID from the government, from any government entity, from a private source, banks, whatever, like the PPP, the EIDL, those kinds of things. And then, of course, the City of Memphis. These proceeds must be used towards your business, and it must be the eligible fund uses. Now, you'll get more information about that if you're selected and awarded this funds. In fact, you'll get a full description of what you can use this money for. When we get to these questions, I'm going to explain what you should make sure you're not putting there. And then you just acknowledge that all of these statements are true, that you're not making any false statements. You'll need to sign, date, print your name and all of that. Some people forget to sign. Again, if your application is incomplete, you're going to have us either make a choice. We're either going to have to reject your application, or if we can, try to call you to make the adjustments. Our preference is if you can do it completely on the front end, that prevents us from having to call and just slowing down the process even more. I mentioned about the question was about the funds that you receive. So again, you're stating here what funds, what agencies you've gotten funding from, and so forth. This question here on C is basically saying, and a lot of people don't have it. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. I know y'all like, she's had so many different jobs, but I was licensed for insurance before too. And so a lot of people don't have this type of insurance because it can be expensive, and then it depends on your type of industry. But if you had insurance that you could have filed for economic injury, because this is what that's for, economic injury of your business or interruption, then we just need to know, because that's going to make a difference in whether or not, if you filed it, then you may have already received funding for your impact. But like I mentioned earlier, this impact is ongoing. What we found is a lot of people just say no right here. Now, there's no box there. And I need to get our folks to add a little box so you can check it. But in the meantime, you can just write on there if you can't check it. And like I said, the answer is usually no, and that's what we see. I mentioned about the videos, and I'm going to go back to the website and show you those, but we need to know that you watch those videos. And then finally, you need to sign all of that here and say that everything that was above is true. These are the different agencies that we identified that, has given funds during this pandemic. So we just need to know if you've gotten funds from them. Then this is not all inclusive. So you may have gotten funding from somewhere else, but this is just a list here. So real quick, before I go into the questions, let me go back to the website and make sure I've covered everything here. So I talked about the additional funding and how you can get that. There are no fees. So I want to say this. You don't need to pay anyone to fill out this application for you. I personally, in drafting this application, try to make it as simple as possible. But not only that, we positioned our business navigators and our leads like Mr. Tagg and Mr. Thomas and his team to be able to answer your questions. You do not need to pay someone to fill out this application for you. Before you do that, I'd rather you call us, let a business navigator help you, and let's go forth. I have heard about some things already, and I have a personal, I get personally involved when I feel like business owners and people in our community are being taken advantage of. As a public servant, I love my job, I love Memphis, and I love you all. And I do not want to see you taken advantage of. This opportunity and getting this money to you is important to me. It's important to the mayor, to city council. And so let us help you. Don't let anyone take advantage of you, and don't let them tell you different. I'm telling you myself right now that you don't have to pay anyone to help you fill out this application. Here are the videos right here. I would click on them, but I think it might take up too much bandwidth, but they're really short videos. And I'm talking about really short. I want to say the longest one might be 5 or 6 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that 1 or 2 of them are less than 3 minutes. Here's the details of the application packet and the information, contact information that I mentioned. Here are the documents that have to be included in the application. So the application itself is all encompassing of the first and second bullet point. If you have a business license, some businesses don't. We understand that some types of businesses don't require a business license. For example, my friend there with 4K Construction, you probably have a general contractor's license or something like that. So you don't maybe need this. That's acceptable, but we need to see it. The lease agreement, mortgage documents, or other proof of residency, your driver's license. It is very important you either submit your driver's license or if you have a green card. If you're an LLC, your organizational documents, again, these are very common to people who have this corporation, LLC, or partnerships. Your tax returns, the business tax return, and then I mentioned this 4560. So going back to the application, and that's pretty much it on the website. So if you look at the website, you'll see everything that you need. But let's go back to the application, and then we're going to wrap up with these questions right here. And then I'll take final questions, and we can kind of discuss anything that anyone else needs to ask. These questions that we're asking you here, and I'm not going to go over each of them individually, but I am going to highlight a couple of points. One, the questions must be answered in completion. What we're asking for, if we say specific numbers, we need to see that. Remember, I said I'm not the only person that looks at these applications. When I make a recommendation, if the answer is not fully completed, it's going to be rejected. Even if I understand your industry, I understand your business, there are other people that are looking at these applications for approval that are not as astute in the work that my team and I do every day. So you need to make sure that you are expounding. Over-explain. Everybody understands that. Over-explain, because too much information, there's no such thing as too much information right here. You know the impact of your business. You know what's happening with your business. Please give us the information so that your answer can be full. Like I said, we ask for numbers here. We ask for dollar figures here. Okay. On this question, your sales and revenue, how has it decreased? We understand. I mean, that's the whole point of why you're applying. And again, what's happened to our businesses. Supplier and customer interruptions, explain there. Now, this question number 4 is a highlight, and I need everybody who is going to apply to help me here. You may have gotten money from other agencies. You may be using your savings, business or personal. You may have just no, debts or obligations that aren't being met. That's great. And that doesn't exempt you from receiving this money, but we need to know the list of those funds, of those debts and obligations. So y'all are all in my email right now, but I had sent it to myself and I was trying to copy and paste, and I'm not going to find it. And I got to get y'all out my email. That's too much information. But if it's rent, if your rent is, okay, I need a $sign. If your rent is $1,200, MLG&W, $800, okay? Insurance, all right? You have to pay, all these bills are still due. Even if you're paying them, we need to see the list, and we need to, just provide the list. it can be estimated, and it doesn't have to be all encompassing, but it needs to be the information there. Now, the other thing that I wanted to say about how these funds can be used, these funds cannot be used to pay taxes, okay? You cannot use these federal funds to pay your taxes. And there are some other disqualifications, but there are very few, but taxes is one of them. You cannot use these funds to pay your taxes. So you tell us here how you're going to use the funds. And then real quick, because we're a little bit over time, here's the checklist. You can use this checklist. Just check off what you're providing to us. These are required, and then these are the additional documentation, you know, some way or another. Pretty much you should be checking all of this, okay? And these are the types of businesses that aren't eligible. This is all in the application. You can see this. One thing that wasn't clear on here that we've had some questions come up, if you are a real estate company, a landlord, or a realtor, you are not eligible. I mentioned about the nonprofit agencies. Again, this isn't, we're not excluding you because we want to. We're excluding you because really two reasons. We can't include everybody because there's only so much money. And oh, there's real estate right there. And we and there are other resources or sources of funding for your type of industry. Now, some of these we just can't give federal money to, and you know, it's just it can't happen. All right. So that's it on the application. And I'm gonna go back to the website and actually, let's see, make sure that I covered everything that I needed to cover. I mentioned to you all about that 4506. So everything is right here that you, 4560, that's everything is right here that you would need. Again, it's all on this website, the videos, the explanations, the who to call, you know, picture of Mayor Strickland and I change my hair often, as you can see. Okay, that was meant to lighten the mood up because I can't see y'all's faces. All right. So with that being said, that's it. Are there any questions that we can answer now? Because remember this, no question is, for lack of a better way to say it, a dumb question. And the question you might want to ask is the same question that someone else might have. So please feel free to ask. And oh, I see that Miss Monica Kegler, who is the owner of Better Days Financial Services, which is one of our partners with this grant, has joined us. So Ms. Kegler is also a resource, and she's the star of those 3 videos. So thank you, Ms. Kegler, for joining us. So any other questions?
Will the recording be available for later? See your recording of this session.
So if you are awarded this grant, there are some additional acceptance documents that will be to be completed, and that will be provided to you. So the details on how to report will be included in what's called your funding agreement. So just like a contract, remember I said this is taxable income. So you'll submit that invoice and you'll have a contract with the city, a funding agreement, like any other grantor or grantee. Does that answer your question? Okay, great. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Okay, hold on. I see. Let's go. Is that Lillian?
Yes.
And then Pam will go to you next. Pam Lee. Okay, go ahead, Lillian.
Okay, so if I have any more question about the information you had provided during this live workshop, I can go to the website. Is the website listed into the City of Memphis, the diversity and compliance website as well?
We just had a revamp on the City of Memphis website, so it's probably not, but we can give you that website now. And Mr. Tag, I think he's already put it in there once. He could put it in there again, Lillian, so that you can see it. But yeah, go ahead. I see it, Taylor. Can you put it in again just one more time as a link so she can see it? So it's right there, Lillian. And also you can, if you go to that website, when you go to it, you'll see the email address and the phone number. And hopefully you can see where Mr. Tag has put that again so that you can access it.
Okay, because I can't see it all. Like, where do I go to see the link?
Okay, let me give it to you then. I'm going to give it to you and you can write it down. You ready? Anyone else who can't see it. So it's www.memphisbdc, B as in boy, D as in dog, C as in cat, all one word, memphisbdc.org/grants with an S. All right.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Pam, you had a question?
Yes. So I'm trying to find the list of businesses that does not qualify for this grant. I have the application, but I don't see anything else. Like, where would those businesses or that list be?
It's the last page of the, or it's the, let's see, it's page, yeah, it's the last page. It's page 9 of the application. The following types of businesses are not eligible, are ineligible. That's what it says. Can you see that?
I only have the application to page 7. So maybe
Probably need to go back to the website.
That's where I got it from, the Memphis BDC.
When did you get it?
I just pulled it up while we were on this live.
Okay, I pulled it up too, and that's why I pulled it live, because I wanted to show y'all what was current. But the business navigator, you can call that phone number and they can walk you through it. We won't be able to email you an application, but they can walk you through it. I'm not sure why it's only to page 7, because my application that I pulled up from the website is to page 9.
Okay, I'll call.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I have a question. I guess, what is the anticipated award date, or I guess will they issue funds? What are we looking at as far as the time?
Right. So that's a really good question, and I appreciate that. I will say that it is a process. I don't have a timeline or an anticipated fund date or distribution of fund dates. Again, there is a process. You heard me mention that after you are awarded and approved, you will receive an email from us stating you are approved and what the amount is and what the next steps are. But unfortunately, at this time, I don't have an anticipated or a fund distribution date. I will also add, though, that the federal government is requiring all municipalities across the nation to expend these funds by December 30th of 2020. That date has not been extended at this time. So we are definitely operating under a very short timeline, and we are working as quickly as we possibly can. You heard me mention that we have already processed, over 100, almost 100 applications to approval, but you can imagine that there were some that weren't approved. So we have seen hundreds of applications that we have worked through already. So I see a question real quick here in the chat, and that's a little bit hard for me to see. So, because I have to read this. So Janice, Janice, the answer is no. It is not available to businesses who gross less than 30 at this time. The question regarding your relocation to Shelby County, I don't know. I mean, if you just applied 3 weeks ago and you were denied because you were a Shelby County resident, and now you moved to Memphis 3 weeks later, I don't know about that. You can reapply, but I mean, we're gonna look at it. And you were in Shelby County, now you moved. I don't understand. And then for those that are on their phones and not able to see, again, that website is all encompassing. And if you go to www.memphisbdc.org/grants, you will be able to see all the information that I just talked about, along with the documents and everything. Any other questions? All right. Okay, I see some people coming on. Go ahead.
Can you state again, what's the name of the contact people that is the one that you should ask for when you call in, that you have specifically have
A business navigator.
business navigator? Thank you.
Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Any other questions? Lillian, did you have a question?
Oh, no, I just want to thank you for sharing and, to answering the questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate everyone for being here. All right. Are there any other questions before we end? I just, again, want to say that, helping businesses is really, really important to me. This is not a job, and I know people are saying this around the community, but Mayor Strickland and I were one of the first groups of people that were saying this is hard work, but it's hard work. We truly care about you. We care about Memphis. And we really want to see our businesses grow. Your businesses are important to our economy, as small businesses employ over 80% of the people in our state. So please, if you haven't applied and you qualify, please apply. Please know that we're here to help you. Please share the word. We don't have money for commercials on TV, and the news will cover what they want to cover, and they'll cover it once. Please share with your fellow business owners and in your communities. I know people aren't in churches. Some people aren't in churches in person, but share, please share.
Thank you. Appreciate you taking the time out.
Miss Joanne, I have a question. I apologize at the last minute.
Okay, yeah, no worries, Devin. Go ahead.
So I was wondering, for the SBA COVID-19, I do see that as, possible relief funds. Is that the loan that you're referring to that we have to write down that we relieve to have those funds, relief funds?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, everyone, just being respectful of everyone's time, I'm going to let you go. But again, thank you so much. Thank you for choosing to do business in Memphis and for participating in this call. And we look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.